Hello, Carrots here. Welcome to part 41 of the 30 Grandchildren Badge attempt. Episode 40 ended with our two soon-to-be married couples enjoying themselves with the games available on this level of the building in the Blue Waters Fun Park. And here's Karen. She's about to try to win some exciting things from the claw machine. And here's Kendall, her future husband. He's come up to play with one of the other arcade machines. Chris and Constance are going to have a little competition of arcade hoops. Looks like that's a good game that Kendall's playing. He's certainly having fun. Oh look, there's Constance. Looks like she's been swimming. So does Chris. They're both in their togs.
Whipping tongue so.
It's a bit hard to tell from here if it's Constance or Chris that's winning down that end, but their friendship appears to be increasing and they're having fun, so we'll leave them in peace. Poor Karen isn't having much luck with the claw machine, but she does get something occasionally. Kendall's still jumping up and down with excitement over in that machine that he's playing at. Looks like Constance is on fire with her game. She's often throwing balls that are just burning. So their game is over. Competition between Constance and Chris, and Karen's given up on the claw machine. Uh-oh, no, she's back. She obviously wants to spend some more money. And Chris is now coming over to play with another arcade machine, while Constance looks like she's heading off to play in a little waterfall in the pool downstairs. Let's have a bit of a close-up look at what Kendall's playing and giving him so much excitement. I can't tell what that game is, it just looks pretty indistinct to me. This one looks more familiar, the one that Chris is playing. Although I've never seen the actual game, I have no idea what it's called, but it looks like some sort of fun. There's Constance, she's gone down to the waterfall. There's got a little bar there too if she gets thirsty. There's a bartender working, waiting to provide service, but I think she just wants to get it wet. Oh look, they're going to try the Love Inspector. See what it says to them. Uncontrollable. Such raw energy. You remind Love Inspector of a beautiful, uninhibited night that Love Inspector shared with Claw Machine. Now Karen wants to find out what Love Inspector has to say to her and Kendall. Burning. Love Inspector sees all. You are en fuego. Ay, ay, ay. So Kendall decides to seize the moment and gives her a bunch of beautiful purple flowers. And when she accepts them, they do a little flirting and a little talking, and then they decide that they'd like to watch the stars together. I think there is romance blossoming between this pair.
Huh? Ibby Joe.
After spending some time gazing up at the stars and being close to each other, they thought, maybe we should wish for happiness at the wishing well. The pixies are there tonight, and it might improve our chances of getting happiness. Constance was there helping them along. Unfortunately, Karen was unsuccessful. Constance wants to wish for happiness as well. Throw a coin into the fountain. Does she get it?
Oh, Casamaraz!
She's hopeful. Oh, look, she is. She's been granted happiness. That's boding well for the way the evening's going to continue, especially if Chris is involved in that happiness. I think now it's time for both couples to go upstairs and do some slow dancing together. You can still hear that train whistle blowing on the floor above. So here they all are, and I am quite amused by the fact that only one of them is wearing shoes. I bet there's going to be some very sore toes by the end of this little segment. What do you think? That's enough of dancing on their own. Let's start a bit of the slow dancing and get these romances blossoming. We want a wedding or two this episode, and they're not making much progress towards that just yet. I was thinking how well they're doing, nobody's standing on anybody's toes. And then all of a sudden, there was Chris. Gave poor Constance a sore foot. Luckily, neither of them are wearing shoes. Kendall and Karen seem to be doing very well together. So Chris has decided to give Constance flowers, while Kendall gives Karen a dip kiss. They're both making progress. Oh, there's Chris and Constance having a hug. But all Kendall and Karen are doing at the moment is staring into each other's eyes. Oh, what's Kendall going to do? He's going to ask her, let's be boyfriend and girlfriend. And she's agreed. So they're now no longer just best friends. They're boyfriend and girlfriend. It's official. Oh, that's a surprise. Karen decides to give Kendall a dip kiss. They are getting on well together. Wonder where they're off to. Oh, there's a massage happening with Chris and Constance. So they're making slower progress, but they are making progress. This is the couple that I was planning to get married first of the two couples, because Kendall is the last one who's supposed to get married, but I'm not going to stick to that rule. If it turns out that Kendall and Karen are ready first, well then we'll get their wedding over and done with before we get Chris and Constance married. We'll see what happens. We will have the weddings in this episode though.
Abo. Alam mo, Izawa. Like a rooster.
Constance looks like she's enjoying that massage. Chris might be enjoying it too. Oh! That was a surprise. She's going to kiss him back. Wow, things are going well. Nothing like leaping into your partner's arms to give him a surprise. Now that is something I never tell my Sims to do. So when they take that flying leap, they've done it all of their own accord, every time. And it seems to happen a few times between these two couples. Oh, Chris wants to make sure that Constance stays his main girl. And they're now boyfriend and girlfriend, officially. Because he's asked her and she had said, yes, please. Now what are they going to do? She's obviously wanting to ask him for something. They've gone. Oh, they're watching the stars together. We've got stars indoors here. Looking up at the ceiling. Maybe they can see a few if they don't look straight up. Because the walls are open to the elements. I think they mainly just want to sit down close to each other and whisper in each other's ears. And as far as the game is concerned, they are technically outdoors because there are no walls around this floor. It's just fencing. So it counts as being outdoors. On the next day, they find themselves back at home, and Kendall is working on his art. Yes, and Bonehilda's on the patrol. I'll get them to take those paintings home. Karen did the one on the right with the squares, and she can take it in her pocket, and I'll get Kendall to take the other two because I quite liked that big portrait hanging on the left of wall there near where Kendall was painting. This garden always needs tending. Every day they've got to work on it. But that's okay because a couple of them still need to improve their gardening skill. Although they don't need to get up to level 7 because they've got beyond that already. Chris had a wish to discover a potion and he had no skill in the potions yet, no experience at all. Constance had a wish to make a particular potion, so I let her make the potions that she wanted. Because she wanted to make 2 of them actually, and that was one of the reasons why I allowed Chris to start trying to discover potions. It took him a while to get the potion he wanted. Constance knows how to make all of the potions, so I've just got to say to her to go make the potion she wants to make. Only trouble is she's got to pay for it, but they've got plenty of money. Lots of simoleons in the bank here. Various members of the household worked on the garden until it was all done, and then Kendall and Karen decided it was time for them to go off on a date, and they headed for the dome. This world is well supplied with subway systems, and you never quite know where the Sims end up. They catch subway after subway and seem to go around the world a bit before they actually arrive at their destination. They had to walk through the basement to get up into the dome, and Kendall obviously decided that he'd prefer to be downstairs playing with the arcade machines that are in the basement. But he's got to come up and spend some time with his girlfriend. We have to get them beyond the stage of just girlfriend and boyfriend. There's lots of butterflies, well there were lots of butterflies, but then it was a bit late, it's getting dark outside and the butterflies all vanished. So I got them to collect a few beetles and things just to build up their collecting skill a bit. Then they went outside and played hoops for a little while. They seemed to be having fun together. Kendall certainly saw the amusing side of something. They both seem to be pretty good at their skill with hoops. And since it's just the two of them, they can take time off from playing hoops to do some flirting. But of course, their flirting was soon interrupted by a new sim who just showed up unexpectedly. They politely stopped their flirting for a moment and said hello to this new sim. And then they started chatting with him for a while. But they really wanted to get on with their flirting. So they started to ignore him. And he got upset. Then Karen stopped and pulled a scary face at him, after he pulled a face at her, of course. And I was thinking, why don't you just go away? We don't have time for this. When Karen turned around and walked off with him, left Kendall just standing there by himself. But she wasn't gone for long, and then she was back, chatting with Kendall. So they indulged in a little more flirting before Karen gave Kendall a massage. Then they sat on the grass and watched the stars together. It turns out that this time while they watched the stars, it was a very romantic experience. I think Kendall was secretly delighted that that bloke had been and gone. She wasn't even gone for very long. She came straight back. And then she massaged him, and then they had a flirt after they finished watching the stars together. And when they'd finished watching the stars together, they had a little kiss. And that turned into a long, passionate making out session. They were just so happy with each other, needing to be together. When they'd finished, they started all over again. And that's when Kendall decided the moment had arrived.
Slail.
He was going to ask Karen to be his wife. And she was so excited, she just jumped up and down with excitement. And she said, oh yes! So now they've got a wedding to plan. Congratulations to the newly engaged couple, Kendall and Karen. Meanwhile, back at the house, Chris's ambition had moved him on from looking for potions to trying to design nanites. He managed to design several nanites, and I was almost tempted to send him off into the future where he could hunt for nanites and take Constance with him, and they could have romance in the future. But then I thought, no, we don't have time for that. We need the wedding to be in this episode. So he can design a few nanites here at home, and then they can go on some more dates until they decide that they want to get married or not. And while Chris designed his nanites, Constance worked on her sculpting skill because she kept on rolling wishes to improve her sculpting skill or place extra sculptures around the house. When Karen got home, she soon found Chris and they had a chat. She had to tell him, of course, about her exciting news about her and Kendall making that big decision, and he was excitedly telling her about his music plans. Kendall got back to work on another painting. Hopefully this one would be a masterpiece as well, while Karen saw the state that garden was in and decided to get to work on it, and Kendall soon joined her because he had finished his painting and it was just brilliant, so he's going to be taking it home with him as well. And Bonehilda was fully occupied at the opposite end of the garden. She was picking up gnomes after she kicked them over, of course. There goes another gnome. This Bonehilda seems to have a fixation with gnomes. Later on, I noticed that Chris was racing Bonehilda to pick up the gnomes that had been kicked over. And Constance, while she was still working on her sculpting skill, Chris came to help out in the garden, and he soon became a level 10 gardener, which was unexpected and quite delightful. Now he can plant the omni plant. When the gardening was done, Kendall and Karen got back into painting again. They certainly have a few things in common. The house is going to be hung with lots of paintings, I suspect. Constance took a break from sculpting and she went downstairs to the wishing well to do some fishing. Chris found her down there and they decided to go on a date. They went bowling. Last time they went bowling here, Chris ended up dancing with another female sim, which upset Constance something terrible. So she started dancing with a male sim, and then he started bringing her up all the time, but now he stopped. Hopefully things go smoothly here on this date. They were both enjoying their bowling, and there were no untoward happenings. It was actually quite a calm and enjoyable time together. The day wore on and everything went smoothly for a while. Then some new sims turned up. I think that blonde could be in for a bit of trouble. That's Liz Flute. She's a bit fiery. I think she might be evil or something. That's the one in the suit, the cream suit that's just turned up. There's something going on in the background here. And I almost missed it, but we'll flick around in a second and we'll see it. Look at what's going on there. No, I didn't see it start, I just heard it. And I don't know who started it, but I wouldn't put it past Liz. It was all a bit dramatic, but Constance and Chris just ignored it and kept on bowling.
It's a free bug. Garnish!
Ruby, remove.
Now Chris has become aware of that brunette, and he's got pink hearts for her. And Constance is there with him. And they're just boyfriend and girlfriend at the moment. Could be trouble brewing. So Liz has gone and joined two other sims for the game of foosball. And the other one who was fighting with Liz, the one with the long pink pants, has gone to the bar and she's going to drown his sorrows by the look of it. She's going to keep the mixologist busy for a while, I think. Sometime later, Chris and Constance had been having a joyful afternoon playing bowls together, when Chris just walked straight past Constance and started dancing with that tall, thin brunette, which sent Constance over to the bar. She just needed to distract herself from what was going on, and she'd been thinking things were going so well between her and Chris. This is a disaster. She knew she had to get married to somebody, and she knew he'd been made especially for her to marry, and she was the only one of the whole 15 who hadn't either successfully married or got engaged to their potential spouse. What was she going to do about it? How could she cope with Chris? He just seemed to have such a wandering eye. Of course, Chris couldn't see the problem. He was only dancing. What's Constance complaining about? Uh-oh, here's trouble. Here's Walter Thompson. He's the guy that was ringing Constance up constantly after the last time she'd gone bowling here with Chris and there'd been a problem with Chris dancing with another woman. That time Constance had ended up dancing with Walter. This time she went over to Chris in a hurry before Walter saw her, and they had a little chat, sorted a few things out. Brunette took off, left them to it. She didn't want to cause any problems. Oh, so now they're going to slow dance. Maybe things are going to go okay after all. Okay, here comes Walter. He saw what was going on there, and he's got at the back of his mind that pair are likely to bust up any day, and if that happens, he's going to be ready for Constance, because Chris definitely seems to not be very interested in a total commitment to the lady. So Walter's there bowling and enjoying himself and hoping maybe they will break up and he'll get Constance in for himself. Suddenly Rory Hackett came in. He's the one who's married to Patience, and he spotted the brunette and he made a beeline for her and he started dancing with her while Constance and Chris continued their slow dance together. Constance and Chris suddenly became aware of Rory and the brunette dancing together. It all seemed to be a bit of a melodrama and a showdown there. there. So Chris did the only thing possible. In front of everybody, he and Constance enjoyed a dip kiss. That dip kiss excited Constance so much that she suddenly leapt into Chris's arms. What a surprise. Chris and he decided that the time was right and the location was absolutely perfect. So he whipped a bunch of red roses out of his pocket and gave them to her. And she thought they were just wonderful and took a big sniff. Probably had her attention, and she was undoubtedly thinking very positive things about him at the moment. So he thought the time is just right. He's got it hit while the iron's hot. He went down on one knee and he took the diamond ring that he's been keeping in his pocket and offered it to her, and she said, "Oh yes!" She was just so excited and so happy. And Walter sort of noticed, and he thought, well, we'll see how long that lasts. And now we've got a double wedding to plan. The little wedding centre in the basement of the dome. And there is Kendall talking to Karen. They're just deciding, yes, now is the time. We should start the ceremony. And that's one of the Hardy brothers standing there looking at them. He's one of the official invited guests. And remember that fight in the bowling alley with Liz Flute bouncing on that blonde with the long pink pants on? Well, that's Liz Flute as a wedding guest in her red dress. She's got her long hair out for the wedding. She just sat down. And Rory Hackett came in as well with his wife Patience. That's Patience in the long black dress. And Rory Hackett was there dancing with that brunette at the bowling alley as well. Not all of these guests were invited, of course. I have no idea who that one in the blue dress is. Looks like she's a fireman. And the one on the right there, the blonde, she's a tourist. Oh, the ceremony has begun. Exchanging the rings. And now it looks like they're man and wife. Now it's time to throw the rice. Uh-oh, she's got pink hearts for one of the Hardy brothers. They're twins. Identical twins. So I don't know which is which. Haven't played them for years. Time to cut the cake, and it looks like Karen's all excited and happy. It's all so romantic. Yes, that's a Hardy boy there on the left with his back to Liz. The cake's been cut. It looks like Karen's decided to dance rather than eat cake. Oh my goodness, I wonder if Karen realises that is not the groom. I always thought it was the bride and groom had to open the dancing after the wedding, and she's dancing with one of the guests. It looks like it's Barry Hardy, one of the Hardy boys. Very slow dancing, looking into each other's eyes. Oh Karen, what have you done? That's the couple for the next wedding. Poor Kendall's standing alone. The other Hardy brother's heading off. He's enjoyed the party, obviously. Kendall doesn't seem too upset. Kendall joined Karen on the dance floor, and they did their bridal waltz together with all of the other guests on the dance floor with them. Looks like the Hardy that left has come back. I think that's him with his back to us with the red top on. I think he's the one that was wearing the blue board shorts earlier. He must have overheard me commenting about his sanity. He's a professional athlete, probably just came off the track to come to the wedding and got changed into his formal outfit late. And now it's time for the wedding of Constance and Chris. I got Kendall and Karen to change into their other formal outfits for this part of the event, part of the ceremony. But after Chris and Constance are married, then Kendall and Karen will get back into their wedding outfits, and both couples will dance us out of the video, because the video is going to go over a couple of minutes. We have to get Constance and Chris married, and all the guests are there. So there's Kendall and Karen in their regular formal outfits, and the ceremony is about to begin. There's Constance putting on Chris's ring. Chris is giving Constance her ring. And that's it. They're now married, husband and wife. I'm very relieved. We lost Constance for a moment because she tried to run off with the other Hardy brother, the one that we saw leaving. But I tracked her down, brought her back. She's safely married now to Chris. We just require them to have a couple of babies, and then they can do whatever they want. Time to cut the cake. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a like, and if you haven't subscribed and would like to see the end of this story, because that's coming up shortly, it'll be when we've had 30 babies born to the 15 couples who have been married in the last several episodes. And once the 30 babies have been born, remember we're starting the count at 0, so we'll have to have 30 babies. Any that have already been born don't count. The active household will have to be Gerri's house throughout the whole thing, and we'll have to be logged into the website for all of the babies to be counted. That Liz Flute, she really is evil, isn't she? She's the one that had the big fight with the blonde with the long pink pants on in the bowling alley. She just snuck up behind the Hardy boy there and gave him a fright. So this is the final waltz. Just wondering what Liz Flute thinks she's going to do now.
Papi nu, chicken wanda.
I do vaguely remember making Liz. She was supposed to be a bit erratic, to liven the game up a bit. I think I must have made it before I had Supernatural, because after Supernatural came out, I made a witch with similar traits. There we go. So thank you for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next episode. And hopefully we will have a lot of babies being born. Don't know how many. It'd be good if we can get all 30 of them in the next episode, but that might be pushing it a bit much. We'll see what happens. Bye bye for now. Happy simming, and thank you for watching.
Cabo Fanul.